Hello and welcome back, capybaras, to another episode of The Lone Roller. It is I, the host, the player, the one who interprets the results of all die and dice rolls, Leon. Where we last left off with Talti, he was on a sortie with the Resistance leader, at least one of that we know of, Tamur Rashid, went out on a mission to rescue Khayrha's family, and during that, they were able to infiltrate the military police station because what was it? Because of the earlier ambush that didn't catch a lot of resistance members, meant that a lot of the military and military police alike were on the prowl looking for them. Ergo, a lot of them weren't at their base. They were trying to pull out an all-out offensive to capture and bring down the resistance once and for all. But that gave Rashid and Talti and their small team an advantage of sneaking in an practically unguarded military police station. What? This place, this government of some kind did not do a good job of allocating their resources, and ergo, the Resistance was able to procure a number of items from a storage unit, as where they entered in and stumbled across a bureaucrat who was done working with the military-based government. A person that we named, I will bring it up here on my end, Munisa. She was able to lead Talti and Rashid down through the corridors of the military police station and bring them to the holding cells that had Khayrha's family. Talti, as they made their escape, reassured them that their daughter was okay and that she played the biggest role in the support of this resistance movement, as Rashid has also explained to them. Now, with that said, we did some bookkeeping things. We brought the chaos factor down to 4 now, and we are now playing through the beginning of the next scene. The next scene being where I feel like the next scene would pick up is Talti reuniting Khayrha with her family, because that would close this thread for her. And then we will go on from there. So the scene will start off with that as the idea. And I'll write and we'll call that's the thread that is being pursued next, is that Talti with Pruyah is going to go back to the hangar, the port, where they left Khayrha behind, to reunite her with her family. So, as always, the first thing we always do is test the scene. Chaos factor 4, 10. The scene proceeds as expected. Talti and Pruyah are escorting Khayrha's family back the way they came. They were given a vehicle by the Resistance leader, Rashid, for a job well done. They make their way back to where they originally came from, to the port where they landed Pruyah's ship. In there, they walk their way in the same outfits they came in originally, so that to not rouse suspicion. With that being said, is there a chance that the military police are patrolling around the port area? We're going to call that 50-50, chaos factor 4. 27. Yes, the military police is in fact patrolling the port area and now have to give Talti and Pruyah a way to be more on the lookout. So Pruyah and Talti immediately notice. Pruyah, did you notice there are military police roaming around this facility? Yeah, I did. I picked up on that. Oh, how do we get to Khayrha then? Get her reunited with her family. Yes, I did think about that. We're gonna have to take very simple precautions in this case to make sure that we can get to Khayrha safe and soundly. Okay, I have an idea. And with that, Pruyah goes in through the crowd of the port and pushes a person into another person. And is that enough to cause so much of a distraction that the military police have to react to that? I'm going to call that likely. Chaos factor 4. 29. It does. The scuffle starts happening. The two people start exchanging blows with one another and causing just so much of not chaos, but definitely arousal, if you will, and gets the military officers to start impeding and impinging onto that fight, giving Talti and Pruyah the cover they need to escort Khayrha's family back to Khayrha, into the port, into the hangar where Pruyah's ship is parked. And there they go inside. How is Khayrha doing? Call it 50-50. 37. No. The question was, in my head, did Khayrha succumb to her wounds? She got a no. She is totally fine. Her parents, happy, ecstatic to see her. Khayrha, and even in her state, has now started to gain a little bit more lucidity about her. You can see smiling family, just a big smile on their face. She hugs, they cry in this reunion, and Talti feeling so satisfied that he delivered what was promised. Khayrha looks at Talti. Thank you so much for reuniting me with my family. It is not a problem at all, Khayrha. I do as I say, and I keep my promise to the best of my abilities. It was almost touch and go, but we were able to make good with your compatriots, and were able to rescue your family. Anything in the world, anything we can do for you. I think you will be pleasantly surprised that your resistance might be very well off with the operation that we pulled off to get you reunited with your family. So, Pruyah says, so what happens next? Do we go back to the resistance, or what do we do with this family? Because it's too much of a load for this ship. You're right. Khayrha, is there a way, another place for you guys to hide out? Of course. There's so many resistance bases around. You could take us anywhere, and there's very well hidden. Her family, kind of shocked by this news, knowing a little bit more about what they knew was their daughter, has been leading a double life. Her father, staggered by this information. Father, please, she says. I know, but we have to take down this tyrannical society and put up one that's willing to bring freedom and liberty within reasons. Her father nods solemnly, I might add. And with that, they make a plan. We need to bring them back. Khayrha, can you move? I'm going to call that very likely, Chaos Factor 4. Can she move now? 17. Very likely 17. Chaos Factor 4. Yes. It is a yes. She is able to get back up. She has recovered, finally, for spending what might have been just a couple of days by herself. Has recovered fully. Able to move around again, still with some minor limitations from the injury she sustained, but she's still able to move. And that injury being the fact that her heart almost failed on her. She still feels it, but she's still able to move. Talti, I can fight again, she says. I can fight again. Please, let us go. And with that, Talti, Pruyah, Khayrha, and her family make their way, driving to another resistance hideout where she knows they'll be safe. So so let's call it what it is. Do they make it safely and soundly to the resistance base? Or where they follow? We're going to call that 50-50. 58. No, they are not followed. They're able to make their way back to the vehicle that they came from originally, and were able and go about and find hours of driving through this snowy, frosty roads that is this world of perpetual night, and find a resistance hideout where Khayrha and her family can be safe. Pruyah and Talti have a conversation. Okay, so Talti, what's next? I mean, I'm having fun. I've been gallivanting with the resistance while you've been off on a mission that brought back like a lot of supplies and weapons and stuff. It's crazy. My employer still needs to meet with you. So what do you want to do from here? Talti, rubbing his chin, thinks. And he asks a question to himself. Pruyah, I think you are correct. It is time for us to leave. Pruyah nods his head and says, all right, I'll be waiting in the car. And with that, he walks off. Talti looks at Khayrha. They exchange one more glance and bid each other their farewells and goodbyes. Khayrha, forever thankful and indebted to Talti for helping her out and doing more than any politician in this sector alone has ever done for them. Talti was always willing to help those who need help, he says. Your resistance is seeing the turning point. And I will make sure that after I meet with Pruyahs, contact his employer. Then I'll see to it that you get the help that you need. She nods, solemnly I might add, and she gives him a hug, a long embrace before they part ways. And that is the end of this scene. So now we can close off the thread that we have aided the saved Khayrha's family and helped aid the rebellion. Now, is it going to overthrow the government? That is something that has yet to be seen. However, it's something that could happen. And I'm going to save the Khayrha's family thread. The chaos factor goes down to 3, as Talti was very much in control of the situation. And now we have to have the scene where Pruyah and Talti are going to make their way to Pruyah's contact, his employer. So, with that, we roll the die. They are now on their way to the employer. On a chaos factor of 3, I rolled a 2, inciting a random event. So, it is a random event, and what is the focus of this random event? Random event focus table. Ooh. Oh, I messed up on that dice roll. I was trying to pick it up and it changed. 70. Close a thread. So we don't have many threads except for finding out while Talti's being pursued, but we already know what that is. Aiding the rebellion and find the patron. In this case, it's finding an employer and then clearing Talti's name. So let's just go ahead and roll on which table we want to roll on, which is 4. And now we'll roll the D10. Might as well just pick one at this point. Aiding the rebellion and overthrowing the military government. It's one of the only things we really have. So, let's do this. Let's give it a little bit more of a meaning. 91. Threaten. 4. Animal. Threaten. Animal. Okay, so here's what happens. Pruyah and Talti come back, return to the port. While on their way, what ends up happening is that everyone becomes on high alert. Opposition has now started imposing a new threat on the status quo. There happens to be a device that the resistance found that's able to control all the military animals and turn them against the military. They are now under the resistance control. And what they're doing is, and I rolled another thing, the behavior of all the animals is to return opposed, which means that they are going to return the control back to the opposition, which is the resistance. Talti and Pruyah look around going, what is going on? And they see all this chaos unfolding around them as the animals start to attack military officers and military people like guns are just going off. Animals squealing and howling in pain, but are able to almost overwhelm. But along with resistance members now fully armed, running into different locations, different locales, to now overthrow and diminish the military police, diminishing their numbers down. Rashid stands tall in the wreckage of just battle and fight that goes on forever. No way Talti and Pruyah are going to get off of this planet at this point. They themselves, okay, they either sit on the sidelines at this point. You know, we'll call that 50-50. Do they sit on the sidelines or do they help out? 91. No, they do not help out. They do sit back. Pruyah holds Talti and says, "This is not our fight. This is just chaos. Let Rashid and his crew do what they do. They know who we are at this point, and like, we're gonna die over nothing, and I still have things we gotta do with you, all right?" Talti nods his head. I believe you're right. So they go and they just stand back on the sidelines while the fighting just happens. I'm gonna roll, let's roll a d6. Let's call it that many hours, right? That is hilarious. After an hour of battle, the military police is overpowered. And with that, TV screens turning on with the face of Rashid, one of the resistance leaders. Now, is he the only resistance leader? We're going to call that 50-50. No, he is not. He's standing there with a few more other people standing tall with them. Rashid, listen to me, planet. Sabranran. We have taken back our planet. No more will we fall prey to this tyrannical government, and we will establish a democracy that rules in favor of fairness. I promise you that things will change. It won't be easy, but things will change for the better. And all thanks to one man. Thank you, Talti, Horatius. Without your help, none of this was possible. To a new age! And everybody all the resistance just raising their hands, just cheering. Ah! Time goes by as resistance members have established themselves in different posts where the military police are at, and Pruyah and Talti go to the ports and talk to one of them and explain that they are just going to now leave the planet. With very, pun not intended, resistance from them, are able to give them the clearance needed to take off on their ship and head out towards Pruyah's contact on his ship, which will take one day. Does anything during that one day of travel get interrupted? We're going to call that 50-50. 68. No. In that day's travel, they are able to just make it all the way to this new place. Now, let's see. What do we want to call it? Is it another planet? No. It is a space station. that is just out in the middle of the sector. Another place where we can always get the tone of everything, where people go to refuel, are just passing through. It's almost like a pit stop place, but it's huge. A big space station that's almost treated as if it was its own small, like its own city. It's very big, large city. Think if you put Miami on if Miami was a space station. There you go. That's the best way to look at it. They get a communication. All right, please identify yourself. Yeah, this is Pruyah, ship 2271 Alpha Marker Wayne. Just asking for clearance to come in. What is the nature of your business? Just a mercenary returning back from a mission from his employer. You might know. Ooh, let's determine the sex. You might know her. What's her name? Yeah, you might know her. It's Ascension. Khayrha. Okay, yeah, you are definitely clear to land. They dock on to the port of the space station, and Pruyah escorts Talti in anticipation to meet this person. Now knows the name of Ascension Khayrha. They go to his employer's place of business. Now, let's get a general reading of what we're looking at in terms of her situation. So, let's find out a few things about her. Is she... Okay, let's go into the scene where they meet. And I want to get her conversation style. Let's get her general appearance. 9. Betray. 26. Deceive. Betray and deceive. Oh no, that's actions. So it was... Here we go. Bold. This is what we want. Characters for generic description 9 and 26. Bold and emotional. There's a lot of passion as soon as she sees Talti. Mr. Horatius, it is so good to finally meet you. Have a seat. As in anticipation, he's been waiting for this for quite a while. Talti sits and says, "Hi, Mrs. Khayrha." No, just Miss Khayrha is fine. I know a lot about you, and I have, on good note, why you are in so much trouble and who is after you. Who is after Talti? Is it a very, very close friend? 50-50. 40. No. Wait, hold on. Yeah. No, it is not. However, it is a peer of some kind that also knows Talti, that works in the same government as he does. Let's get a identity for this person. Male. And let's get their motivation. 15, death. 58, loss. Mr. Horatius, I have to tell you that the person is a part of this sector's government, and he wants to see a lot of people go away. The thing that you found, which can bring peace to this sector, he's against it and has made you look like you're the enemy. But I am here with Pruyah to help you. And with that ends the scene. We have a new character to add now. Kadaris, Ascension Kadaris, so we'll add her in. And now we have this new person that we will name later in the next episode. But for now, everybody, that is going to be the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe and such. I really appreciate it on another time of The Lone Roller.